kids are in the hospital, and explain how, or just
So, I mean, yeah, just even, we've had some discussions even recently with the CEO of Children's, and just talking to him, I mean, in terms of actually who's hospitalized, actually there's a significant more amount of RSV cases in the hospital with COVID. And the COVID cases that are in the ICU, at least this was 3 weeks ago, because that's when we had the interview, is one or two of them were actually true COVID disease. And I will tell you, COVID actually affects children in an interesting subset. I've taken care of somebody with thalassemia, and thalassemia itself is when you look at the literature from Asia, a killer with COVID. But again, not everybody in Alabama or Birmingham has thalassemia. Actually, a pretty low amount of people do. This girl was adopted from China. I used to go to China, and the only reason I kind of knew about it is I used to go to China every 6 months before I got married and get orphans with bad medical issues, evaluate them, get them treated in China, and then get them back here to their parents. And so thalassemia is one of the biggest things that we have to look out for. So some of them are even transfusion dependent. So I guess
go back to you were saying they're
yeah.
something else.
So again, intubated and COVID positives is different than COVID disease. So, and I think that's something that, and again, I mean, even he said, yes, we have a lot more RSV cases on, that were significantly sick in the ICU than COVID, but we don't hear about that.
But isn't that caused by all the masking?
RSV?
Lowering your immune system?
It's just, I mean, in all honesty, there's something called viral interference. And viral interference means that the most predominant virus in a season is going to win. And we see that with flu every year. I mean, when we talk about flu historically, you're going to have lots of different strands circulating. And the strand that's the most infectious is going to be the one that is the dominant. And then eventually people get immune to that strand, and then the next season, there's another strand that predominates. So this isn't something new. In fact, I would call COVID an influenza-like illness. It's a viral respiratory illness. So, but, yeah.
My name is Eric Bjornstad, and I am a pediatrician and an epidemiologist at UAB, and there are as many number of patients with COVID as RSV. This is not a benign disease in children. Granted, the majority do okay. We don't know their long-term effects. That's being studied. We don't know if they're going to have the same rates of high blood pressure long-term, and memory loss, and all of that comes with adults. But this is not a benign disease in children. Because I'm also a concerned parent, and that's why I came today to hear the data and hear the discussion. I have a child that I don't want him to get COVID. He's a 5-year-old and he wears a mask every day and he doesn't have a problem with it. I think there are subsets where we need to talk about that. But I think you have to hear both sides of the data. You yourself, Mr. Vaughn, talked about the nuance of medicine. Well, we've got to hear both sides and see the data.
I agree. I mean, did you have any problem with what I presented?
I do. I think you're not presenting all of the data.
Well, I mean, I did start out with this.
Several studies that have shown that masks work. Your randomized controlled trial about N95 versus masks, there was no control group.
There was. Yes, I mean, it was.
Right?
It was.
Claiming that it was N95.
I can back up to it. It was actually pretty robust.
Back up to, I think it just compared N95 and surgical mask. There's a control group without it, right? So
Yeah, that's fine.
If you wear a surgical mask or a
Yeah,
N95,
but
they both work, and that's why there's no difference.
well, it would argue
Just
that.
compare those two groups, right? Just a surgical mask and an N95, not people who didn't wear masks, correct?
Yes, I mean, it basically compared healthcare workers and then average infection. Yes, you're right. But again, we're assuming that the N95 respirator is so much better.
Maybe the surgical mask is just as good.
So then, I mean, I can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Than there have been in previous years of influenza.
It's called, viral
There
interference.
is zero hospitalization for influenza.
Because influenza just, I mean,
See, because what you just said.
so I would say that yes.
I do. I have to solve this.
But I would say, give something. Let her respond. I mean, you can come up with a stick if you like. But I would say that viral interference is a big part of it, just like I just talked about. In any seasonal respiratory illness or influenza-like illness, the predominant strand, the most infectious strand, and this year it happens to be SARS-CoV-2, is going to predominate, and it's going to, really push out everything else. And this one's so infectious that literally no other respiratory illness actually was able to be circulated. The second there was a decline in it, RSV popped up its head.
Or it was when people quit wearing masks.
Oh, no.
Oh my gosh.
Warren doesn't pay as good.
Well, I mean, again, I will say,
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
I'd like to know what the difference is, like, if people that want to wear a mask because they feel that mask will protect them, and then those that don't, is it really effective for, like, two people to be wearing masks? Like, I mean, if these people that say that masks work, if they're wearing a mask, isn't it going to protect them from this virus? And then other people that, don't want to wear a mask, are they, I mean, you understand what I'm trying to say?
so what they,
So what I'm saying is, why can't masks be optional to everyone?
So the argument is that it's source control, and I'll
It's
say
what?
source control.
Source
Okay?
control.
Yeah. In all honesty, if I believed in masks, I wouldn't be here among all of us right now because all of y'all are not controlling your source. But again, I don't think that they're effective. So again, I'm here. But yeah.
But to answer my question though.
So what they're doing is forcing you to control your source.
Which is
And that's what I'm saying,
sick.
that's what I'm trying to say, is why don't we fight against that? Because I don't think that I should have to have my child wear a mask just because someone else is afraid that their child's gonna get, a virus. If they're afraid that their child's gonna get a virus, let them wear the mask.
And again, I'm not up here to mandate no one wear masks. I'm up here to mandate that you get the,
I just wanted to say that,
Oh, yeah.
it's off my heart.
So, and in all honesty, that'd be the last thing I would want to do is mandate what, an individual themselves would do. I think, yeah, it's very important. We're talking about bodily autonomy. And in all honesty, I think forcing somebody to do something to their body without consent is
Or your child's body. It's even worse.
I can't hear you.
She might have a cigarette in here.
That's fine. I'm not going to stop you. No, but I'm not going to stop you from. I'm not going to see you.
But my child doesn't wear a mask because of how you feel. So what you're trying to
This is
emphasize,
about to get real
what
bad.
y'all let us think, what's the negative impact of masking 5-year-old, 6-year-old children all day long? They're not seeing, they're having to interact with a person who looks like you and be socialized by it. They can't see somebody smile all day. What does that do? What does that do to their mind? I mean, you're an epidemiologist. Is that good for them? What does it do to them long term? What does it do to their psyche? What does it do to their growth? Social. Do you care about that? How dangerous is it for that kid to get COVID? How many kids in Alabama have died from COVID?
Hey, I'm not going to get kicked out of the club just yet. We invited Dr. Vaughn here to speak and tell us his side of the story and his truth and what he knows. And there is another side to this, and he has recognized that. And you know what? We can all hear both sides. We are all intelligent people that can learn and make informed decisions for ourselves. So I'm so glad that you all are here, and I'm glad that everyone's passionate. But we can make and have discussions afterwards, not on this property. We are also going to let Dr. Vaughn finish, and if he wants to take some questions afterwards, that's fine. I will say that when y'all walked in, I said that I would call security if things got out of hand. I'm so happy you're here. I will get you seats, and you can have a seat and stay forever. But we're not going to start this contentious back and forth. This is for us to learn, and you are welcome, and we invited you here, and we're just going to leave it at that. Thank you.
May I approach the microphone?
I'm sorry, we're going to let him finish. You can.
I'm a school board member, and I have a whole different perspective I would like to share.
I would like to say that we only have a limited amount of time here, and if you would like to We're gonna stick to the agenda, and then if you wanna call another meeting, if we have time, we can do that. But we're gonna let Dr. Vaughn finish his presentation, because we are fortunate enough to have him here.
All right, any